Hello and welcome to BQ Prime. A very good morning to all the viewers. I am Hiral Tatia. Clearly, if you go to see in terms of where markets are concerned, that consolidation phase does continue. We are below the 19,300 mark already as we speak. Overall, you are seeing pressure in terms of Bank Nifty as well in today's session, and clearly our markets are taking cues from the global markets. But what's in store? From a stock specific action perspective is what is interesting to watch out for. Joining us on the show to discuss more is Samir Dalal, President at Dalal and Son Stockbroker. Samir, good morning and welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good morning.
Samir, let's start with the biggies today. Reliance Industries, that stock was one of the reasons why we saw a downtick in yesterday's session as well in the second half of the trading session. A recovery did come in today, and with RIL, you have an interesting piece with JFS, which has actually come out of the lower circuit band already today. Firstly, your view with regards to RIL.
So we continue to remain positive on Reliance, and we've been saying this for a while. So actually, if you ask me, the deal that they announced yesterday, where Reliance Retail is going to be raising about 8,000 odd plus crores for 1% stake in the retail venture, gives a big boost to the overall valuation of the company, because now we just value Reliance Retail holding that they have about say 89% post this deal. That alone is valued at about 7 lakh crores or plus. So for the entire entity, I think that was a big boost. I was a little surprised to see the stock a little subdued yesterday, but I believe that, look, eventually market probably knew this news, and that's why the stock had moved up a bit. But rationality will prevail, and eventually people will look to add the stock. We believe the retail business is growing well. They've in fact made a new launch of a in the retail venture of a store which is catering to the youth, where prices are low, where turnovers are going to be very quick and very fast, similar to a studio kind of thing that Trent has. Is directly competing with that, I would say. So again, that is going to be something that looks at. If the telecom venture continues to do well, of course, now Geo Financial is separate, so we can't add that into the valuation multiple. But overall, even the petchem business we think is going to do well. And there are certain things that may work out positively when it comes to the some of the other investments that they have, which are listed. So given all of that, we believe that Reliance does have some upside in the near term. We believe the stock could probably rally up to 2,800, 2,900 levels in the next 1 year, even shorter than that. So from that point of view, if you look at it, it's a good 15 to 18% upside. And any small correction like we saw yesterday makes a great buying opportunity. And that you can see again in the market, with the stock rebounding.
But do you think that the markets were not really enthused with the fund infusion?
I don't think it's not enthused. I think, what's happened is, we had these recent listings where private equity and in the unlisted space, like, for example, I'll give you Paytm, Zomato, Nykaa, where the investments were made at much higher levels, but these stocks eventually came off. So I guess the worry to some extent is, even though the money has come in, which is a positive, they believe that when the stock Reliance Retail lists itself, whenever it is, maybe a year down the road, it may not get the same valuation that it got when it was unlisted. So that might have been something that people consider. And probably, but I don't think anyone should be upset with the fact that 8,000 crores has come in at this kind of valuation. I don't see it as a negative in any which way. So no, to answer your question, no, I don't think that was the reason for the fall.
Right. Samir, moving on to a Geo Financial Services, what's your read? I mean, clearly, the key was when will the stock come out of the lower circuit, and the extensions that they've already got to be a part of the index. What's your read? What would you advise an investor to do?
So, in Geo Financial also, we remain positive, right? Now, when you just look at the overall, the way the demerger has been done, they have a huge holding of Reliance Industry shares. So if I were to add that to the core business, of course, I think Reliance is trading not too expensive. In fact, I would say, if I just take the valuation of the investments at about 160 rupees, is somewhere around there it's coming. You're buying the rest of the business at about 40 or today, maybe $50, because the stock has moved up a little bit from the lower circuit. So we're not paying too much premium for it. Now, what I like about the business is, look, they are one of the people in the finance space who will be able to raise money at very low interest rates, very competitive interest rates. So they will be able to compete in the market quite aggressively. So I'm not saying they're going to eat into Bajaj Finance's margins and Bajaj Finance's business. You know, the talk that is going around, I think the market is extremely large and it's only going to keep growing because we are a very highly under-leveraged country when it comes to retail side. So the opportunity is large. Now, when I look at it, the way I look at it is this is a business that needs capital to grow, right? Every time you extend X amount of loans, you have to have certain capital adequacy. With Reliance having a huge holding in Reliance Industries, Geo Financial having a huge holding in Reliance Industries, every time the requirement of some amount of capital comes up, they could always sell some amount of shares of Reliance Industries, raise the capital, which would allow them to grow their loan book even further. And this could probably be done over the next 10 to 15 years. I'm not talking of short term, I'm talking of extremely long term. So this is a company that may not require fresh capital raise, which means the EPS growth for this company can be continual. It will be a compounder, but it will take some time. Now they have to get their strategies right. Of course, you have to ensure that the NPAs remain low. But given the kind of businesses that they are also focusing on, and given the kind of management team that they put in place, I don't see it as a major concern. So I believe Geo is a good investment long term. Yes, in the near term, because you have certain ETFs which are forced to sell Reliance, Geo Financial, because they're not part of the index and they were index ETFs which were holding it, they will come to sell, and that is where the selling circuits were happening because they were looking for the exit. I think to a large extent, a lot of them will get that today, and then what you will see is the stock stabilizing. You might see 5-10% movements here and there, but over the next 1 year, I see the stock higher, and over the next 3 years, I think this could be a compounder. So I would be advising someone to invest in Geo Financial Services and not take money off the table.
So you're saying someone who's already been allocated a JFS should continue to hold, and someone who
or
does
even add, not only hold.
correct.
I say you can even add into the stock. Look, in the lending business, what is the biggest?
But Samir, the argument over here is, what is it in terms of the business currently that JFS has, right? There is no clarity on that front.
Correct. There is none. You're right. We do not know exactly every business vertical that they're going to cater to. But let's put it at this: when they are entering the financial services space, there's a huge amount of NBFCs which already have given out loans, and a lot of these NBFCs give loans at, like, I'll just give you simple examples: gold finance businesses which give loans at 20%. You have this used vehicle market which give loans at 18-19%. Now these are all potential opportunities for Geo to go and tap and give these same loans at lower rates, given the fact that their borrowing cost is lower. So for them to scale up operations, the biggest benefit that Geo will have over a lot of other players is the fact that they borrow money. Being a shadow banker or an NBFC, they borrow money cheaper than everybody else in the industry. Bajaj Finance is probably the only company that will be able to compete with them when it comes to raising of money. But if you have low costs, I think you can grow your business quite rapidly and quite quickly. And one thing we've learned over the years with Reliance Industries is they don't like to be marginal players. If they're not part of the top 2 or 3 players, I don't think they like to stay in the business. You can look at a simple example of nobody believed that they could do anything in the telecom business at that point. And they came and they changed the market. I feel there will be some amount. I'm not saying they'll be able to do it completely, but given the fact that the cost will be low, they will be able to shake up the market to some extent. And they are not going to sit behind and just be a market.
Samir, I'll take a follow-up on this one. As a like-to-like peer, would you compare it to a PB Fintech? Because if you talk about Policy Bazaar, they have a Bank Bazaar, a lot of segments which are going to be common, right? From a market cap perspective, Policy Bazaar, a 34,000 crore market cap. Do you think the valuations are then fair for Geo Financial Services?
So, like I told you, Geo Financial Services is holding about 160 rupees equivalent of just Reliance Industry shares, right? So we are only paying that. If you want to value him, if you just assume that value, if you take the holding value out, you're paying 50 rupees a share. 50 rupees a share, what is the valuation you're getting? Secondly, they're not only going to be in the same space as the PB Fintech, they're going to do other businesses also, right? They're going to be setting up their mutual fund now. which of course is going to take some time, but that will come in. And again, like I said, they will work on some very large splash that they do. Given the brand reputation that Reliance enjoys, there will be people who will say, de do paisa, de do. Not without even having too much track history, they'll be able to raise money. Similarly, I think when they do the lending businesses also, which they're talking of getting into in a more aggressive manner, like I said, cost of funding is low. So I cannot compare it alone to a PB fintech or alone to any one particular entity. I have to look at it as a holistic. They're going to have so many verticals, and all these verticals are growth verticals. Apart from the financing business, the other businesses don't require too much capital. Not that capital is ever a constraint for them, but they don't require too much capital. And the capital intensive businesses, they will be able to outperform the others.
Right. Now, staying in the same space, you have a Bajaj Finance and a Bajaj Finserv. Both of them have picked up in trade today. And there is a report by Nomura also, which is saying that the exit of HDFC, right, that is becoming a positive for them, whereas the concerns around Jio Financial Services entering into the business are also overdone. How are you looking at both these names?
So you're asking me about Bajaj Finance. I agree with
finance,
Nomura.
and then simultaneously a Finserv then.
Yes. So I'll talk about Bajaj Finance first. So I totally agree with the Nomura report. I don't think, I think people are reading way too much into the fact that Reliance is entering the market. Look, at the end of the day, Bajaj Finance has an amazing client base that they've created over the period of time. They're being able to grow. There's competition been around forever in the financing space. You have your banks who have great access to customers, because at the end of the day, a lot of your banking customers are already customers who they could have reached out, but to them, Bajaj Finance has been able to reach out faster and better. So I don't see them having any struggle with that. They have great growth potential again ahead. So there's no problem there on the financing business. Where I find the problem with Bajaj Finance is purely the valuations are being extremely expensive, and someone like a Reliance Industries coming in can hurt them on the premium valuation they have been getting, because people will say that, look, you have a guy who's big, who's got financial might, who's coming, who will try to capture some of your existing clients and try to, cross-sell things to them. So growth may taper down marginally, but I don't see it as a major concern. Only where I see is valuations may correct because of the fear that something is going to come about. A simple case, an example, which happened in Asian Paints, everyone talked about Grasim entering and the stock fell by 25%, right? Grasim had not even made its entry. It was just talking about it at that point. And Asian Paints corrected from 3,600 to 2,800 levels, and it's bounced back at 3,200. Similar kind of situation can happen where valuation multiples can come off. The problem is I don't see valuation multiples being able to expand further. So Bajaj Finance to some extent will become a market player and need not remain a compounder that it has remained for over such a long period of time. So from that basis, I have a slight differentiation from Nomura, where I think, maybe upside in the near term is capped, but I don't think the business is going to get hurt. Bajaj Finserv at the end of the day is a holdco company which has the various businesses, the insurance, the life insurance, the general insurance. They have the NBFC, which is the holdco. They have, they're basically holding these various businesses. Now they launched their mutual fund business under that. So again, if valuation multiples or valuations or stock prices don't rise the holdco, Bajaj Finserv may also face some amount of difficulty. But where I think Bajaj Finserv will probably outperform to some extent over Bajaj Finance, I believe in the near term it could be, is that the insurance space, which they have, the general and the life, will probably do better for them because they are one of the early entrants. They have a great distribution reach. Penetration of insurance is increasing. Not only the penetration in the sense of number of people, but also on the ticket value is increasing. Claim ratios, they're getting more correctly. So I think Bajaj Finance Finserv could probably outperform a Bajaj Finance from the point of view that the other businesses which are not part of Bajaj Finance may continue to do well, where Bajaj Finance may have slightly more subdued and more muted growth, but they will continue to grow.
Right. Moving on, the sugar stocks have been in focus as well, and this is on the commentary that the exports could be banned, and this could be the first time where exports could be banned in 7 years. What do you make of this, and how do you think it will impact sugar companies?
So an export ban is always a slight bit of a negative for companies, right? When you can export some amount of surplus sugar that you have, what it does is it kind of keeps sugar prices a little higher, which allows these companies to make more money. But sugar companies are no longer pure sugar companies, and this is something we've discussed with you guys also before.
Right. So I think we've just lost Samir's feed as well. But sugar companies have been in focus as we speak, and clearly on the back of the export ban, relative moves that we are witnessing. So it's going to be interesting to see how that space pans out as well. In fact, that's all that we have on this session. Thanks for watching, and lots more lined up on the other side. In fact, you will be hearing the management of Kent Technologies on the back of the semiconductor plant that they are setting up in Karnataka, and that is going to be an interesting news to pick up as well, because the space is absolutely hot. Please stay tuned at 11:30 to have Neeraj Shah speak to the management as well. Thanks for watching.